This video, I hope, is your aha moment, your awakening to deploying a reliability culture. It's simple, but it's fundamental to driving improvement at your plant, and something that I see so many people fail at. Stop deploying best practices. You did read that title correctly. You've been told, or all of you are hearing, just half of the recipe to delivering a reliability culture. Consequently, you're frustrated with results, you're questioning the validity of best practices. You're saying things like, hey, we've tried best practices before, they don't work in our plant, we're different, we're short-staffed right now, we're not allowed to hire. We have unique challenges at my plant. Operations just doesn't get it. They're a bully. They drive everything. We just can't get any traction. Plant leadership doesn't know how to lead in a reliability culture or reliability efforts. And, it's just too much work right now. Maybe next year. This is Joe Kuhn of Lean-Driven Reliability, bridging the gap between best practices that you should be doing and the reality that you live in at your plant every day. You're failing or limping along in mediocrity because you're adding best practices to your culture. Here's the problem. You have little time. You're working 10 hours a day. You're working every other weekend. You've got this reactive work coming at you constantly, business directives from on top, safety issues, environmental issues, production issues. Who has time for more stuff? Your culture is overwhelming the new. Your culture is set up to reinforce current state, reinforce what you're currently doing. All your management systems are set up to reinforce what you're currently doing. The solution, folks, and this is so simple, but so fundamental, and I probably haven't stressed it enough. I think I have, but perhaps not. The solution to this is you must remove poor practices first. You can't take your existing culture and add more work to it. It'll fail every time. The inertia is against it. You must remove the poor practices. Another name for poor practices? Waste. Okay, you've heard that plenty of times here. Getting rid of poor practices takes enormous courage, folks. The temptation for the risk averse is to simply add the best practices to current state. Just add them on. So then, you're hedging your bet. Just in case this best practice doesn't work, we're still doing the old culture thing. This always loses. You don't have time. The culture the culture that you have supports the current bad practices. Are you afraid of risk? Let me give you a couple examples. You have a maintenance crew of 10 people. You're doing all reactive maintenance. How about reducing that reactive maintenance crew to 8 people and tell them we're going to prioritize, we're going to put in a system to prioritize the calls, and we're going to do all the work with 8, and 2 people are going to do planned maintenance. They're going to develop PMs, they're going to develop condition monitoring inspections, they're going to proactively do work. Pulling them off of that planned work in any given day takes the approval of upper management. That takes risks, folks. That takes risks to say, I'm going from 10 to 8 people. That's a 20% reduction. Takes risk. Do you have the guts to do it? Example number 2, you have a crew of 20. You're doing 60% planned work. Not too bad, on your way. It's not good, but on your way. How about based on observation, you've realized that a major wrench time detractor is getting parts, availability of parts, having them staged out the job, having the wrong equipment. You decide to take one of the 20 people that are doing that of their assignments, 60% planned work, you take one of them down to 19 and make them a full-time kidder stager to improve your wrench time. That takes guts. You got to sell it to operations and then your peers that, hey, we're behind with 20 people. I want to try 19. That takes guts. That takes risk. Call it a 90-day experiment. Tell them you'll reevaluate it. Takes risk. taking the risk comes first, folks. This is why learning more best practices, sending people off to training, sending planners off to some, to get some certification, adding a reliability engineer, purchasing new tools. This is why it always fails. You're wanting to do that on top of the existing culture, and it will fail every single time. Never seen it work. Replace bad habits with good, and you're on your way. Courage is taking actions despite your fears. Which bad habits or waste do you begin with at your plant next week? Which ones do you begin with? Chalk circle observation. You got this, right? Begin your journey, folks. This stuff really isn't that hard. Hopefully I've reached a couple people today, but you got to stop the waste first and then replace that with best practices. If I could help you in any way, send me an email, send me a request to talk live on a phone, free consultation. I get one a day, so don't be bashful about asking for some help. I love helping people. Give me a chance. Talk to you later. Bye. Joe out.